Hello and welcome to Between Sets with Church. Today we are at Casino Rama Resort up in just north of Orillia with Brad from 5440. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. I know we got a very busy day ahead, but I really appreciate you taking the time out of the day.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Truly appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about the early days with you and Neil and kind of how this band actually got to fruition.
Yeah, it's an open-ended question.
Sure is.
So I'll start from the beginning. Going to school in South Delta and grade 11, and it was probably the middle of January, and this new kid comes. He just moved from Edmonton, and he was weird and very pale. And so I'm intrigued, and we became friends. And we'd go to each other's houses, we would listen to music, we would learn songs together. His brother who's now playing with us, David, had a bunch of 45s, and we would listen to, Paul Revere and the Raiders, and the Animals, and the Kinks, and, and anyway, and we would learn these songs, and so we had music in common. And then after high school, Neil left to go, well, he did a summer job like we all do. And then he went to Berklee College of Music in Boston for a couple semesters. And I did a year of college. And by that time, I'm totally ensconced in the Vancouver punk rock scene.
We were talking about that earlier. It was quite the scene that was going on. Holy cow!
And it was just like, yeah. I go, this is really happening. You got to come back here and let's start a band. And because it was that DIY ethic, the do-it-yourself ethic, and we had a lot of energy. We're 20 years old, and he came back, and we found a drummer, and. Yes, we started ingratiating ourselves with some of the local bands and getting opening slots, and then we developed a relationship with some bands in Seattle, started going down there, having them come out to Vancouver, and that's how things got started.
Yeah, cool. Your first EP called Set the Fire. Mm-hmm. What influence was going on in your minds at that point? I know it did get a lot of college radio played as well. It did, but we were talking earlier. I said I got a little bit of a early REM and a couple other influences that you agreed to.
It was of its time, right?
Yeah.
So we recorded it in 1983, released it in 1984. Pressed a couple thousand copies, have them distributed all through the United States and Canada with independent distributors. That was like typing out letters or handwritten letters back then. I mean, phone calls were very expensive. A lot of mailing of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when we started touring up and down the West Coast. Sub Pop in Seattle took Sound of Truth, I think it was, and put it on their. They did these compilation cassettes, which they were selling, and Sub Pop became, the label that eventually signed Nirvana. And so they're influential, getting lots of radio play at the college level, all over the United States and Canada, and really launched us. And so we've done 2 records, an EP, and now this LP, Set the Fire, on our own. And we're like, that's all fun, but we'd like to get somebody else to do it next time. So we really approached the next part of our careers, trying to put something together and then trying to get some record label to sign us, so we didn't have to do that anymore. And we were fortunate enough to play a bunch of showcases in LA and tour through California a lot. And we had record companies talking to us all the time. We eventually signed with Warner Brothers in early '86. We already had the green record ready to go in the can. They wanted a remix. We got Dave Jordan to remix it. And came out in June of '86. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a promotional issue with the payola scandal just had hit in May. So which, if you're not familiar, it was when record companies would hire these independent promoters, and they would use various means, legal and illegal, to influence radio play. Yeah. And that record companies had no in-house way of promoting records to radio. So what happened is, as soon as our record came out, all radio playlists just kind of froze. And it wasn't until like September, October before Warner had their own in-house thing. And by that time they said, let's go to the next record. So I Go Blind, for instance, was never released as a single in the United States. Single in Canada. but we can get to that song later. But yeah, so we just toured the U.S. relentlessly. We were, as Neil would say, living Eddie Vedder's dream, you know, of getting in a van, selling 40,000 records,
Yeah.
playing to 200 or 300 or 400 people.
The true independent artist selling
That's
stuff
what-
out of the trunk.
That's what we were. You know, we had Warner Brothers behind us, which was helpful, but kind of got off to a bit of a rough start. But we did get a lot of play on MTV, which
Yeah,
is good,
good,
with the Baby
good.
Ran
Good.
thing. So, and that's what kind of where other bands started to find us, and so that was kind of cool.
You're gonna start dressing in finer things, maybe just nothing, and maybe just a dream. Fire in blue sky, had you in the mouth. This is the one, not the meaning. This is baby, I love you, won't you stay? You think about him too. Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Gonna start living fantasy. Maybe just nothing. Maybe just dream. Fire in the blue sky when he hits you in the mouth. This is the warrant, not the warning. Hey, let be. I love you, won't you stay? You say goodbye to him too late. Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Don't she love camping? Now that he's gone away from here, well, he's gone away. He died, they say, and purple away was the dark of the heart. You have started something big by cutting through the man. There was a sign you heard a calling. He says, baby, I don't want to die today. Say so long, man, it's too late. Don't she love? Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Don't she love? Don't she love? Don't she love camping? Don't she love camping? Now that he's gone away from here. Don't she love camping? Now that he's gone away.
So the Green album, we'll call it the self-entitled Green album.
I call it the Green album.
Yeah, I think
Green
everyone
record, Green
does.
album. Yeah.
What happened with the you had what 4 or 5 singles off that album. What was the difference in songwriting between Set the Fire and the Green album? Because it really all of a sudden it put you on the planet.
Yeah. So we were just talking about this the other day because we don't actually spend a lot of time kind of looking back. Well, we have this new record coming out later this year, which is all about that.
Okay.
Which we recorded during COVID. So we've actually had some time to reflect. About 2 years of thinking about sort of where we came from and how we got to where we are and all that kind of thing. But yeah, we were very much a kind of a groovy, weird band with, kind of developing our own sound and figuring out how to write songs and, how to keep the song in the same key from beginning to end and, stuff like that. And we cared very much about the sound and all that kind of stuff. But the Set the Fire record was, it was a really neat, cool record but it never really rocked, except for maybe 1 or 2 songs, which I would consider kind of rock songs. And so I said earlier that, we were looking for someone else to make the record for us, a record label. We also wanted to rock more. Okay. So we changed drummers at that time. Matt Johnson joined us. He was the new guy up until Dave joined us 20 years ago.
Well, that's another thing I was going to get to later, but the amount of members you've had, it actually is really limited.
It's really limited.
But I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Yeah, we've actually given Matt honorary original member status. Yeah, because he's been with us now 38 years, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, he's a pretty loyal guy. So that's a big difference, right? So he's a rock drummer, and he only played on 1 track there, but that was the direction we wanted to go, and Daryl was the drummer on the other tracks, and we were kind of just
gave the drive,
pushing up tempos and trying to, and just because we thought it would be fun, right? And like I said, the songs kind of got better or more structured, and the whole thing is kind of learning as you go, right? Yeah. And every band will tell you about it. That's, I consider, one of the skills that you have to have as a band member and as a band in general, is you have to have the ability to learn, care and learn. So,
yeah. 43 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
It's longer than most marriages. What's the secret to keeping everyone together?
Well, it's almost 43 years. Let's call it 42 and a half.
Okay, well, we'll extend it. We'll air this another 6 months just to make it legit.
It starts off kind of rough, right? And you kind of feel each other out and staking out your position, and a lot of sort of arguing and downtime, and then once you get through that process, I think it becomes a little bit easier. But what you have to do is you have to establish some common ground and some common goals. And one of the things we decided we were going to do very early was we were going to make 10 records. Like, let's decide right now, because otherwise you could question whether you're going to be in a band on a daily basis or a weekly basis. So just right now we'll decide we're going to do 10 records.
That's a long-term goal.
It's a long-term, come hell or high water. So, I mean, if we're still, working day jobs and making records on the side and, getting in the van when we can, and that's what we're going to do, right? And make 10 records. Or maybe it'll get to be more than that. That's not the important thing, right? Yeah. The important thing is the process. So Neil and I both bought into that, and away we went, right? We just started making records, and like I said, caring and improving and learning, and that'll you go a long way with that.
Yeah, for sure. There was a story that I saw on one of the other interviews. Actually, it might have even been on the 2-song. That was on YouTube. But anyways, Neil was talking about when he was doing the recording for the Green album, breaking in after hours into the mushroom.
That
was an interesting story.
Well, we recorded from midnight until 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. $50 an hour for that. Back in 1983, that's expensive. That's a lot of money. So we did have day jobs, and that's where our money went, right? As we went to finance our own recordings. And that's what you do when you're going to do it yourself, right? And we can talk about this later too if you want to, but that's where the music business is right now. except for now, people make their own recording studios, or they go to our friends. You know, there barely are recording studios anymore. So, but yeah, it's very accessible. All you have to do is get to it.
Yeah. Speaking of that home concert, that video that I saw, do you enjoy doing those, or do you get an opportunity to do the home concerts very much?
Oh, no.
That was quite the home too, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you done anything since then?
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a little
It was an offshoot.
Yeah. But to record that like that was some production company in Calgary, and they've done it with several artists and in several different homes. So they kind of contract out a home, they get some people in there, and then it's high production value. And
Yeah. Well, you could tell it was really well done.
lots of stuff done in post, and
Yeah.
so it's the quality recording's good.
Yeah.
And we had fun and we're well taken care of. And,
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
She lies to me, lies to me, and I don't want to know what she really sees. What is wrong with me? I'm not supposed to be happy all the time, but I'm willing to bet it doesn't matter yet, as long as she doesn't mind. Telling lies to me, lies to me, and I don't want to know what she really sees. Maybe it's not fair to her to believe what she says. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes, and it can also go the other way. I wasn't wide awake when she said to me, "Buddy, you're alright," but I think she knows, and I know it shows. I'm confused all the time that she lies to me, lies to me. I don't want to know what she really sees. Lies to me, lies to me, and I don't want to know what she really sees. Maybe it's not fair to her to believe in what she says. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes, and it can also go the other way. I wasn't wide awake when she said to me, "Buddy, you're alright," but I think she knows, and I know it shows. I'm confused all the time. She lies to me, lies to me, and I don't want to know what she really sees. Lies to me, lies to me, and I don't want to know what she really sees. Lies to me, lies to me. I don't want to know what she really
How has touring changed over the years? I mean, it's, like I said, almost 43 years later. Obviously, things have, between what we've gone through in the past couple of years to, I guess, expenses and everything else, and sort of been there, done that. Have you find touring has changed very much as far as the logistics and everything else behind it?
Yeah, well, it's for sure. I mean, initially it was just up and down the West Coast in the van. on summer holidays and wherever else you get some time off work, whatever, and it'd take a while to book these dates. And then, you sign to a record label, you've got an agent in New York, and you're doing 130 shows a year in the van.
Yeah.
And then you put, hundreds of thousands of kilometers on that van, and then you wear that van out, and you get another one, and then at that time, you're in the tour bus, you don't need the van anymore. And same thing, you're still you're taking 6-8 months to do the record, you do all your pre-stuff to get ready to promote it, and then you're, like I say, in the tour bus, and you're out there for months on end. Here and also in Europe too. So now, we don't do 130 shows a year. I think we would self-destruct. We try to do, 35 either side of that. And a few years ago we did 50, which is kind of maxing out. But it's a lot of fly-ins and 2 or 3 shows. And then,
Okay.
Yeah.
Internationally, speaking of which, is there any favorite countries that you've traveled to that you enjoy playing in front of, or is there any countries that really accept you more than others?
Sold some records in Sweden.
Okay, there's a start. Known for their death metal and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. Stockholm and Gothenburg. The whole Scandinavian thing was sort of quite a revelation for me. I really enjoyed that. I like north of England and Scotland. It's fun. London's fun. We did when we opened up for Midnight Oil. We did a lot of shows in Germany.
Cool.
Some of those were fun. Yeah, I enjoyed the whole experience. And then France, a lot of shows in France and the Low Countries and stuff. And so the whole thing's great. I mean, I wouldn't say anything bad about any place that we played ever, actually.
Any parts of Canada that kind of stand out?
Well, I mean, we're from Vancouver. We do an annual show at the Commodore Ballroom every year.
Okay, yeah.
So
There's a
that's
very
what we look
famous
forward
room.
to. Yeah. It's been around for almost 100 years now. We like playing in Calgary and Toronto and surrounding areas. And then, we've done some things in the north. We played Cambridge Bay and Nunavut, which was, a cultural experience, which was great. We've been to Whitehorse several times. So we've had a chance to, and then Atlantic Canada, which we don't go to that often, every 4 or 5 years. It's a long way from where we live.
I'd say.
And there's not as many people there.
Booking agent, what's going on?
Yeah. But we do get there, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, we'll be playing Newfoundland this summer sometime too, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Another thing I was going to ask you too is about the acoustic tour that happened several years ago. What was the concept behind that? Was it to get more in touch with the fan base and be a little bit more attached?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's good for us, and it's good for our fans, because it is kind of an intimate experience. Neil spends a lot of time telling stories and letting people on the inside.
That was nice. Yeah.
When we play here tonight, there's not going to be letting a lot of people in the inside. It's about projecting this.
Yeah.
And there it's way more in, and they can see how the band dynamic, and Neil's a funny guy. So it's something we really enjoy. I just had breakfast with our sound engineer, our front of house sound engineer, Charlie Ferguson. He actually worked that tour. It was like 9 shows we did through Ontario, and a lot of bands are doing that now. And bands will not say a bad thing about that. And I think it's great for fans. Some of our fans are a little older now, Ian, and they like.
I speak for myself.
They like to sit down, some of them,
Yeah.
So, hey, that works too.
Yeah. So what's coming down the pipe as far as recordings? We talked earlier about there's some exciting news coming down the pipe for 5440 fans.
Yeah, so the first thing is, I think it's this May. Don't hold me to the dates, but it should all happen this year. There's a vinyl re-release of Smile and Buddha Cabaret, which we're looking forward to. And then we have a live record, Live at the El Macambo.
Oh, good.
Which we did. During COVID, we invited a few of our closest friends to be there, and did a show there, and it's recorded, so that's going to be released. And then we have a new record out of new material, called West Coast Band.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of release that in drips and drabs starting in late summer. And the actual release of the album will probably be late fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all exciting.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we're thrilled. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about this earlier. You know, for us, it's all about the process.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and we consider being able to do what we do the reward. So.
Yeah. I guess vinyl is pretty well our only tangible product, really, that we can put. Thank goodness it is making a huge comeback. But was that a pretty easy decision to make to go to the vinyl?
Oh yeah.
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 And we do a limited run.
Okay.
It always sells out, and then we decide whether we're going to do another run or not. But and then we still make CDs too.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Good, good.
Some people like CDs.
Well, I guess the older people would probably
Yeah.
have adapted.
Yes, it's kind of a middle person.
Is it? Yeah, okay. Or the lazy ones who
Yeah.
don't want to get into high tech.
If you're really old, you still use the same turntable you had 50 years ago.
That's true too.
Yeah. So yeah, that works both ways. And then of course the streaming services were all over that too. So,
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you very much enough, Brad. It was a wonderful pleasure and I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. I know it's a hectic one, and all the best for the show.
Thank you
and
very much.
Hopefully we can do this again in the near future.
I would like that.
All right, greatly appreciate it. Thanks again.
Thanks, Ian.
Cheers.
Yep.
Thanks, Brad.
You're gonna start dressing in finer things, maybe just nothing, and maybe just a dream.